Hello, my name is Alejandro Melo and this is my inquiry project final report for EPSE 604, Collaboration for Innovation. I want to start introducing my inquiry question. How does a professional learning network foster agency and collaboration among teachers in Colombian rural schools? You may wonder, why this question? So, through a previous inquiry project in the SRL course, we inquired about how teachers organized the participation structures within two different learning environments, the online settings and the rural schools. As I advanced my learning, I first read about the term PLN, Professional Learning Networks, and I also learned that some rural teachers in Colombia were part of a PLN. In that project, we were focused on the students' learning. And I had this wondering about the teachers, like what was going on with the teachers. And I had the feeling that I wanted to continue inquiring about that, about the teachers' professional development in the rural schools. So that is one of the reasons why my question in this Collaboration for Innovation course. Another reason, another influence to my question came from one of my Q&Rs, and not only the Q&R, also the class discussion we had that day. And it was about collaborative inquiry. I reflected on that discussion and I want to recall this piece of my Q&R. I see into practice a collaborative system that works. This case study shows how communities of inquiry act as the bridge between students' needs and higher level initiatives, connecting what comes from the bottom to what comes from the top, making educational agreements and not imposing changes. Teachers become agents of change, and when they see positive outcomes in their students, their emotional resilience becomes stronger. Individual and collective motivation increases, and this creates a fluent cycle of collaborative work that could persist over time. At that point, when I wrote that Q&R, I didn't know much about the professional learning networks, but I remember that Q&R brought me back to my previous project and brought me back to the wondering I was having about the teachers' professional development. So this was another influence to my question. And the last thing is that I wanted to connect and to my previous learning experiences, so that I have a continuous learning and everything links. It's not just separate learning going on. And then we made a team. So we became the Spirals team. And we were a team of 4. We shared our questions and our rationale. And we discussed and found that we had a common trait in our inquiry, a common concept, and it was agency. And so our team's theme was understanding and fostering agency in learning and collaboration. In the constant search for improvement, change and adaptation needs to occur. So in our collective experiences and observations, we had seen that change was often short-lived or unsuccessful, as it is usually a top-down and authoritarian process. On the other hand, we were discovering through this course that collaboration could be effective in making a long-lasting and sustained impact, as individuals come together to share knowledge, inform and shape each other's thinking and learning. Effective collaboration could happen through different approaches, fostering engagement, autonomy and agency of its member remain at the core of it. This was our team's rationale to address this theme. So we wanted to understand what was behind that agency, what could foster agency in the form of collaboration. How did we advance our learning in collaboration? So first, we decided how we were going to communicate and which working platforms were the most convenient to work, especially in this online environment. So first, we decided on communication channels and working platforms. We decided to use WhatsApp for messaging, email, especially for transferring documents, and Zoom for live video meetings. And for the working platforms, we found Google Docs and Google Slides to be the most convenient to work collaboratively in an online environment. Second, to advance in our learning, we established a plan that included a set of mini goals and a timeline. You can see right here, we created a table in our shared Google document, as you can see here, in which we included the dates and times for meetings and the mini goals to achieve. We met live twice a week on Tuesdays during and after class time, and also on Thursdays. Third, we created something called the reading club. Well, it's not we didn't create it, but we decided to name it the reading club. It was more fun just to say, okay, let's meet and tell us what you read. It was the reading club. In the reading club, the magic came to light. And for that purpose, in the reading club, we collectively pulled together readings from the course and outside sources that could speak to our individual questions. The reading list included the name of the team member who suggested the article, as you can see in this example. This was a list that was changing over time, and we were also trying to make it more narrow, so we didn't expand it too much and maybe get lost in the different concepts. And so it was a changing list, but this is an example of our list that we shared in our Google document, so each one of us knew who proposed which reading, and also we could also, if we wanted, read other peers' reading. So the idea in these reading clubs was to share our key ideas. As we couldn't get together as the puppies in the picture, we agreed to hold regular meetings through Zoom once a week, because the reading club was on Thursdays, in which we shared key takeaways and questions from our readings. Each member noted their ideas and brought their reflections to our reading club. Some articles were read by more than one member in the team, and that allowed us to discuss different perspectives. This was a beneficial process to our co-learning experience. I found this reading club very interesting because it took the form of a conversation. It was not just the actual reading, but just to chat and to have fun while learning, I have to say. So, what did I learn through this process? I expanded my understanding of agency. The discussion of the ecological model of agency provided me with a broader vision of this concept. I could see human agency being fostered or constrained by not only psychological factors, but also environmental factors. I learned that the enacting of agency is influenced by past experiences and future projections that meet in the present moment, in the now, the practical evaluative dimension, where environmental factors come into play. So, as we advance our learning through our theme, I was simultaneously connecting to my inquiry question. So, going back to my inquiry question, how does a professional learning network, how does a professional learning network foster agency and collaboration among teachers in Colombian rural schools? I found that the Escuela Nueva model was not only a different approach to student learning in the rural schools, it was also a collaborative system that supported teachers' professional development. Escuela Nueva functions through a professional learning network that keeps rural teachers and students engaged by effectively balancing the three dimensions discussed in the ecological model of agency. So, the composition of the professional learning network of Escuela Nueva had in place all the necessary forces and resources to foster teacher agency. This professional learning network builds knowledge from the participants' knowledge. It is situated in context. It considers the beliefs and past experiences of the teachers, as well as their professional purpose. It provides resources such as the learning guides, the microcenters, the online platform for support and networking, the guidance and organization for teachers to work in collaboration through collaborative inquiry. I was able to see and identify a PLN in action, fostering agency of its participants and achieving the goal of improving students' learning, and more important, increasing motivation to teach and to learn. But of course, there was more learning. Learning was learning in my experience of learning in this course was made up of small pieces that come together along the way. Maybe not directly related to my inquiry question, but still part of an entire learning experience. So I have to say that through this process of inquiry, I learned not only about agency and not only about the professional learning network fostering agency in rural schools, but also other things. For instance, more learning. We learned and experienced a different and fun way of sharing thoughts in an online environment. I won't forget the waterfall activity introduced and used by Dr. Knellert in his seminar presentation. So we borrowed his idea and used it as part of our team seminar presentation and as a way of gathering the thoughts that were inspired by our presentation. So as you can see here, these are the thoughts from our peers, and I collected them here, and those were the final thoughts after our presentation. So for me was the simple activity as the waterfall, it was learning. It's something that for sure I applied it in the seminar presentation, and I will keep applying it in any other opportunity that I have. And there is more. I also had the opportunity to discuss our theme situated in different contexts, not only in the school and classroom environment, but also seen through different organizations. This is in our case, one of our team members worked for CLBC, Community Living British Columbia. This is the workplace of one of our team members. Her inquiry question was inspired by that particular context. So as we advanced our learning, we were constantly curious about her thoughts and how she was applying what we were learning and discussing, which was mostly related to the classroom and school's environment and the teachers. How was she applying it to her professional practice? That was very interesting, and that I think was a very valuable part of the learning, to know how all these concepts that we were learning could be applied not only in a school classroom environment, but also in other contexts. And there is more. Given the opportunity to present my final report through any format, inspired me to explore new tools and different ways to present. So I learned this new tool called Prezi Video, which is the tool I'm using right now to record this video and to present my final project. That's overall a description of my learning experience through our team, our own individual questions, and the interaction with peers and facilitators. So, what is the next step? What comes next? In the short term, I want to integrate this knowledge and this learning experience to my independent field study project as I come closer to the end of my master program. In the long term, I expect to make proper use of this knowledge as soon as I get back to the fields of professional action. I can't wait for it. And that is why I chose this format of presentation as well. I think these different forms of presenting your ideas and presenting your learning are more appealing to review and to go back to them and to share. So in this way, it's more meaningful for me, and for sure it won't be just another completed assignment. It will be a tool. It will be a thinking tool, and something I would like to share to other colleagues out there, especially in Colombia. So now I would like to special thanks to my team members, Don, Misha, and Negar. Special thanks also to my professor, Dr. Butler, and all the peers in our course. It was a wonderful experience, and keep you in my heart.